Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and today is July 11th, 2021. I am coming at you with a knitting and cross stitch podcast episode today, vlog episode, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to be showing you my crafts. So we might as well just jump right on in. I don't have anything exciting announcement wise. Other than make sure you're checking out all of my yarn collection videos that I have been posting on YouTube. I think I have 3 up now. I'm literally just going through every single item in my yarn stash and showing them to you on YouTube. So check that out for sure. As well, before we jump on in, there are a couple places you can find me on the internet. The first being on Instagram at birch.and.lily. And then you can also find me on Ravelry and Love Crafts with my knitting patterns. So definitely check all that down below in the description. So let's jump on in. I don't have any finished objects this episode, but I do have one half finished object. So let's start with that, I guess. So this here is just a pair of vanilla socks. I have them in a Birch Grove bag, and I am knitting these out of some stray cat socks. This yarn here is called Dhanys. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It also says thankful in the brackets on the tag, but absolutely beautiful. I've got past the pretty gobstoppery wound spot on this, but I will show you what the stripes look like on the sock. So, like I said, I do have one sock completely finished. So here it is. I cast on 56 stitches for this pair of socks on a 2.25mm US 1 needle, and I did a 2x2 rib, slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset in just like a random mini that I had in my stash, and then just a wedge toe. So nothing crazy special about these. These are my car knitting, my movie knitting, all of that fun stuff. So yeah, I finished the first pair. This little progress keeper is where I was the last time I showed these. And I have cast on the second sock. I haven't got super far on this, but plugging away for sure. Yeah, I usually pull these out when I really don't feel like thinking. So they've been getting a decent amount of work lately. And I actually did just wind up another ball of self-striping. I can't remember what the pattern is called, but someone had recommended a really pretty self-striping yarn sock pattern to me. So I want to cast that on. I'm just trying to clear off a pair of sock needles because every single one of my sock needles is in use right now. So I wound it up, and hopefully that will give me the ambition to finish up some other projects on my needles right now. But yeah, nothing crazy about these, just a good old pair of stockinette or vanilla socks, as some people call it. And I enjoy working on them a lot, and these are my favorite colors. So if you watched a couple episodes back, you would remember my saga about my pink Fizz sweater by Mowry. The pattern is by Mowry. And how I had underordered my Suri alpaca. So the pattern itself calls to hold double 1 strand of fingering weight yarn and 1 strand of mohair. And I'm allergic to mohair, so I decided to give Suri alpaca a try. Which, yay, I'm not allergic to. But I did not realize when I originally ordered the Suri alpaca that a ball of Suri has less yardage than a ball of mohair. I assumed for some reason that they would be exactly the same. They are not. So I started knitting on my sweater and realized that the yarn was disappearing really, really fast. And I was confused, and then I realized what the issue was, and I was really sad, and I put the sweater in timeout for a while. But I really felt like picking it up this past week, so I did that. I picked up my pink Fizz. These are the 2 different yarns that I'm using for it. So these are both in the colorway Whisper. They are a collective exclusive colorway from Woolberry Fiber Co. But, can you hear the train? But they are going to be bringing back a couple of the collective colorways for like everyone to purchase at the end of the year. So if this is something that you really like, maybe put a bug in their ear and let them know that you would love this colorway to be one of the colorways that they pick. But yeah, this is Whisper from Woolberry Fiber Co. This is their, what base is this? They're berry socks, so it is 80% superwash blue flake word I can't pronounce, blue faced Leicester, and 20% nylon. And then, like I said, this pretty skein here is their Suri base, which is Suri alpaca and silk. So they feel gorgeous. I love Suri so much. It has the beautiful fluffiness of mohair, but in my opinion, it's softer, and it also doesn't make me sneeze. So I am a fan. But yeah, I picked this up. Where is the front here? And I've put a lot of work into it now that I figured the yarn issue out. I was able to order some more, and this is where I am now. This color is showing up a little bit more pinky than it is, but that is okay. I still think you have a really decent view of it. That is where I am. So last time, I don't have a progress keeper on here, but last time I think I had just finished the ribbing and started onto the body, and that was when I noticed I was having the Suri issue. So I have put a lot of work into this now. I am knitting the size medium. I couldn't tell you the amount of stitches on that, but I am using the called for ribbing needle, and I'm using a different needle for the body. Let me check my notes. So let's see, I am using a 3.5 millimeter, so a US 4 for my ribbing, and then I jumped up to a 3.75 or a US 5 for the body of the sweater. So yeah, I really liked my ribbing fabric, how the fabric was working up, so I didn't want to jump up too much on the body because I felt like it would get a little too loose for my liking. So that's why I only went up to the 3.75 millimeter. And I'm very happy with that. I do find my gauge is quite different on wooden needles. I am using, these are Knit Picks, the square, I don't fully know the name of them, but they're square knitting needles with an interchangeable cable. And yeah, I think this is so gorgeous. It has a split hem. So the way that you do a split hem, if you're not familiar, you actually knit the front and the back of the ribbing. So like this piece and then this piece separately, and then connect them together in the round to work the rest of the body. So this is working bottom up. This will be the bottom of my sweater. I'll work up, and then I will add the sleeves on. Work up, you make your sleeve holes, connect at the top of the shoulders, and then add the sleeves on. I believe is what the pattern calls for. I am so happy with this now that the issue is fixed, and I have to say, which is good to know for future reference, like I knew the colors of my two dye lots were not going to be the same because it had been quite some time since Suri dyed, and you can quite easily tell on camera here that this one, rather, is quite a bit lighter. It's blowing out, it's that much lighter, but you really don't see the difference in the sweater, and I think the reasoning behind that is that all of my sock yarn is the exact same dye lot. So the only thing that's different is the mohair, and the Suri, rather, sorry. The only thing different is the Suri, and it's more of a wash of color, so you really don't notice any striping or anything. So I'm pretty darn happy with how this is turning out. And I'm happy when I went with a size medium. Usually I'll knit a small for myself, but I've been finding, I don't know, I just wasn't liking the fit, and I really wanted this to be quite baggy and cozy and squishy. So I went with a medium, so I knew that it would be quite a bit larger on me and have a lot of positive ease. So yeah, glad I pulled this out again out of hibernation because now I'm really enjoying it again. I knew I just needed that little bit of a break from it because of the disappointment with all of the yarn stuff, and once that was all figured out, I just needed to wait for the right time, and I knew I would want to pull it out again. So yeah, really, really loving that. Would highly recommend this pattern. I wouldn't say it's a crazy warm 35-degree summer pattern to knit per se. My water bottle just fell over. But we have air conditioning, so it hasn't been too bad to work on. Definitely wouldn't work on it in the heat of the day, but in the evening it's a good knitting project. So yeah, I do have one cross stitch project to show, and then I'll jump into a couple more knitting ones. So I swear I am always coming into these videos with issues with my cross stitch lately. I don't know why. This here is a project bag from Pretty Southern. I have Jane Cowey in here by the Scarlett house, and I pulled it out to work on last night, and I was trying to stitch stuff into it, and I was like, this is off. Like, why is this? What is going on? Something is really off. So I will show you what I was working on, and then I will explain the rest of the story. So this is where I was. And last night I realized that, I'm gonna hold it like this. Gotta figure out this finger. That right here, that green little vine is a stitch too short. And I don't want to have to fudge the whole complete piece. Not worth it to me, especially with something so big, and I'm using silks, and I'm stitching this on a 46 count. This fabric is 46 count cream, by the way. And like I said, I'm using all the called for silks, and it's just not worth it to me. So I wasn't about to sit and pick it out because I was upset. I just decided to start it over on the other corner of the fabric, and I'll deal with the stuff that needs to be picked out later. So yeah, that's how Jane Cowey's going. I'll show you the silks. They're really pretty. One second. But yeah, that was a little disappointing, but I have to say I am proud of myself for picking it up today and starting it over again instead of leaving it, because I knew if I left it I would never want to pick it up again. And I love this piece so much. It's just so pretty, and the colors are so unique, and I just knew I had to do it even though I didn't want to. Knew I had to. So here are the silks. Like, look at those colors. Aren't those just gorgeous? And the silk feels so nice, and silk is more expensive, so I didn't want it to just sit there and go to waste, so I've started it over. Once this is recorded tonight, I don't have to have the video uploaded until Tuesday, and it's Sunday right now. So tonight I think I'm going to just sit and relax and work on this piece and not try to think about catching up to where I was before, because obviously that's not going to happen in a while. But just kind of get some work into this and get myself liking it again. But I have to say, every single piece that I worked on around the time I was working on this piece here, I made massive mistakes on, and I had to rip out a whole bunch of stuff. So I shouldn't be surprised that there is a mistake on Jane Cowey as well. Is what it is. I could have been a lot further along before I noticed, so I'm trying to look at it in a positive light, and also be thankful that the fabric is large enough that I can just flip it around and start and not have to pull out the other stuff. Because I think if I had to pull out everything that I had already done, I would not be feeling the way I am right now. So that is where I am with Jane Cowey. So onto a more positive note though. As you know, I have been starting dyeing yarn, and I have 2 different colorways that I've came up with, and I'm currently like testing out stuff and knitting them up, so I thought I would show them to you all because I'm really proud of them. First off, this bag here is from that Crafty little fox, and none of these are named colorways by any means, but this is the purple one. I have shown this on the podcast before in scan form, but this is it wound up. And I am knitting a pair of Feathering a Nest socks. This is a pattern by Danielle George. What's her Instagram handle? Little Bobbins. So I'm knitting up a pair of those. I have the leg completely finished, and I'm moving on to the heel flap. I don't think the pattern itself calls for a heel flap. I think I substituted that in myself. But I cast on 56 stitches for this pair of socks on 2.25 millimeter needles. I did a 2x2 rib like the pattern called for, and it's just a really simple twisted stitch pattern that makes these beautiful little lines going back and forth that I can't find. But yeah, I think it's really pretty, and I'm very happy with how this yarn is knitting up. I mostly just wanted to knit both of these skeins up just to see and make sure that I wasn't getting a whole bunch of strange pooling with the way I was dyeing the yarn, which I don't seem to be. I'm pretty darn happy with how these, well, this is looking, and obviously I'll show you the second one in a minute. But yeah, I love this pattern too. It's very simple, easy to remember where you are, memorize. If you're a beginner sock knitter and you're wanting to kind of just get into a little bit of cabling but nothing crazy complicated, this would be a really good one for you. So yeah, this is Feathering the Nest by Danielle George. And the other pattern that I'm knitting, I've knit one of these before. This is a pattern by Lindsey Fowler of Larkspur Knits. It is called the Flower Crown Socks. Why do I always blank? And it is in this beautiful bag from Birch Grove. I am knitting it up out of this yarn. I dyed this up this past weekend, I think? No, it's Sunday. Past week. Anyways, but I am in love with this. I just think it's so pretty. The camera is definitely blowing it out a little bit, but kind of reminds me of a sunset, kind of reminds me of like tropical-y drink vibes. I don't know, but I had a lot of fun dyeing this up. I learned some new speckling techniques, so that's exciting. Like, look at this. Can you see the speckles in that strand? Oh, I hope it's picking up on camera. But I'm pretty pleased with myself. Not to toot my own horn, but yeah, I am knitting a pair of flower crown socks. So these socks have the cutest little bauble cast on that is included in the pattern. Slip-stitch heel flap and gusset, which I have in, and I'm now decreasing the gusset. And yeah, oh, I wish the camera wasn't blowing out this color so much, but super cute. Love these socks. I'll show you the pattern on the front here. There we go. Pretty darn easy pattern too. It's a 8-row repeat, I think. So nothing terribly complicated. Actually, if I go like this, does that show? Yeah, that kind of shows the pattern a little bit better. But yeah, super cute. Just a shorty pair of socks. I think these will be going into my gift box of socks. Yeah, I really wish this wasn't blowing out so much, because there's definitely some more like deeper magenta-y tones in here too, and fuchsias that really aren't picking up. But anyways, yeah, these are gonna go into my gift box of socks. These are 64 stitch socks with a 1x1 twisted rib underneath that little bauble cast on there, and I'm knitting these on 2.25mm US 1 needles. So that is the other skein. I'm really loving dyeing yarn. It's really fun. I said on my Instagram, and I think I've said to a couple other people too, that I was a hairstylist when we lived in Canada, and this feels like coloring hair. So it's kind of everything that I miss from my previous career, but with all the fun, crazy colors. So it's been really fun. On another note, I forgot that in this bag is that other skein of self-striping yarn that I dyed up, or I didn't dye up, I wound it. Also, apologies if I'm looking over there. I moved where my monitor is and I'm still kind of getting used to it. Anyways, so this is the skein of yarn that I wound up. This is from Mud Punch, and what are you called? Full Moon Break. So this is what I'm going to knit up with that self-striping pattern that I was talking about. So hopefully I will have that started by next episode. But yeah, that is everything that I've worked on over the past week. Not a lot of cross stitch, definitely more knitting, but then I've also been busy dyeing yarn. So I feel like I've accomplished quite a bit. I'm pretty happy. So I guess that's all that matters, right? If you did like what you saw today, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. Definitely helps out the channel a lot, gets my video out to other people, and I'm trying to think if I have anything else to say. don't think so. Yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If this is your first time coming, I always forget to say it at the beginning of the video, but I hope that you'll come back, and thank you for joining. And if you are here and returning after watching how many episodes, I don't even know, I really appreciate you too. I will see you all in the next one. Bye!